Hi everyone, it's Heather. What I thought we would do in this video is use a paper bag. So this is just a paper bag from a clothing store. You get them all over the place. My daughter goes shopping for clothes, and these days you get the paper bags rather than the plastic bags, which is obviously a lot better. And I thought, rather than just recycle it, that we would attempt to make a little journal out of it. So what I'm going to do, obviously I've folded it in half and just sort of pressed it a little bit. I'm going to try and keep the handles. I would like to keep the handles maybe as a closure, just to sort of retain that original quality, because that's actually quite nice, and they are quite well glued in. I'm not sure whether that will work. I might have to rethink that, but I do actually quite like that. So I'm going to keep that aside as it is, and then we can use that as an opening to pop things in, and I might have to just cover this to make it look a little bit prettier. So we'll see how that goes. And what I'm going to do is just slice off this part just to open up this side, and then I'll need to deal with the edge as well. So I'm going to go and do that, and then I'll come back and we'll deal with the... Okay, so I've cut the end off, so now it's an open bag, and just neaten that up. I used the guillotine because I want it to have a nice neat edge. Having said that, that edge isn't particularly neat. Now this is a gusset bag, obviously, so you can get more clothes in it. So you can open it out on the sides like that, and it becomes quite a large bag. Now that's too big, really, I think, for a journal. So what I thought was to maximise that, because I want it to be a nice clear pathway to put things into the side. So I thought if I opened it up like that, but then folded it so that we have a similar size sort of small journal. This will work, it might not. And then fold it in like that. And if we decorate it that, then you can open it up. I hope you see where I'm going with this. I'm sorry, I'm not being very articulate today. Despite the fact that it's a Sunday, I feel a little bit foggy today, and I'm not sure why. But we're going to give this a go. This could take several days for me to get through, so you'll probably see this being quite a disjointed video, but we're going to give it a go anyway. And I think that will be quite nice, because we'll have elements that we can add as we fold it out. Now I've not done this before, so this is a bit of a trial and everything, so we're just going to see how we get on. And I'll film the process, and hopefully you will get to see how it unfolds as we go along. Right, so I've picked out some papers that I like the look of, that are in my stash. I'm sort of feeling a little bit autumnal at the moment, so I'm going with a more muted palette. I really love these shades with the sort of the browns and the mustard yellows and the greens. So I'm thinking I might use this. This is actually quite an opulent paper, but I'm really drawn to this today. So I'm going to use this, I think, for the cover, or the very front part. But I want to incorporate some of this because it's a flocked material, and I just absolutely am loving that feel. So I'm thinking I need to get some velvet or flocking into this, so that when I pick it up, it feels, ooh, that's nice, that feels nice. So I want something very tactile. So I'm just going to go through some of the papers that I've picked out. I've got some vintage bits. I'll show you. I have folders, as you know, with various bits, and so I've got some of the usual music sheets. I'll pick out some of that as well. But when I have some scraps left over from, because I use fabric books and things like that, and wallpaper books and scrap pads and all sorts of things, what I have done in the past is put them in wallets of similar colours. So, sorry about that, I had to pause for a moment. So I put scraps of sort of similar colours sometimes in envelope wallets with specific colours in. I actually did this ages ago, and I've just put them to one side, because now I tend to use my scrap bin for everything. But I thought, you know what, it's a good time to use some of these up. So I have various wallets, recycled wallets with rustic and sort of things that are on a similar line. I quite like that. I'm liking the rustic look. I think probably because the paper bag, because of the craft and the way it feels. So I'm sort of going with a maybe these muted shades, sort of autumnal type feel. It's, you know, it's the way I'm feeling at the moment. So I'm going to put those to one side, but I'm going to be grabbing bits from everywhere, and we're going to go with this paper. So all I'm going to do now really is very roughly cut panels, because I'm not going to do, obviously it's quite a large area, I'm not going to keep it all in one colour. I'm going to go with quite a lot, so because my mind is at the moment enjoying lots and lots of different colours and textures in each project. So I'm going to just cut little panels and see what looks nice, and then I'm going to stick them on. And I think after I've done that, I'm then going to go with the sewing machine, and I will sew just to sort of make sure they're well secure, but also to sort of give it a defined fold where I've sewn it, because I want this to be sort of openable. I'm not sure yet whether I'm going to reinforce the folds or not. I may do that with some fabric, stick some fabric on there. Not quite decided yet, so I think what I'll do now is just get on with that, and I'll speed up the process so you can see it, but obviously you can fast forward through it, and then you'll see the finished sort of covered project before I actually get about to decorating it and doing the interior elements that I want to tuck in there. Okay, so I've done the cutting of the panels that I want to stick on, and I've gone with a mix of vintage papers and patterned papers. So this is the interior. Sorry, my camera placement won't allow you to see the whole thing, but basically we've got the panels cut, and I've used again some more music sheet and just some craft card, which is printed, but I really like the roses, but I like the leaves of the roses because they sort of reminded me of brambles, which is sort of autumnal. We're looking at picking berries and things like that, so I quite like those leaves. So that's the inside, and I'm just going to fold that in. I've not stuck them down yet because I am thinking I'm going to put some maybe fabric on the seams, on the folds. So then the outside, again a mix of vintage and new scrapbook paper, and I quite like these colours, so I've got a mix of plain, stuck to that one, a plain and patterned, and this is flocking, so that's when you open it up you've got that lovely tactile feel. And on the outside I changed my mind slightly because I was going to go with the flowers, I think, on the back, but I went for that on the inside instead, so we're going to go with that with the cover, and then the gorgeous tactile blocking on the back there, and then I'll again reinforce the edges where it's folded with some fabric. So there we go. So I've not cut anything perfectly because my ability to cut appears to have gone very much downhill recently, but that's how it's going to look. So I'm going to get to sticking those on and adding some fabric onto those folds. Hi, I'm back. It's been a couple of weeks since I cut out all the pieces for this bag journal. I've just been really busy, so I've not been able to do any filming, plus my filming area has been a right mess, so this video will be very disjointed. However, I thought I'd do a few minutes on it this evening. If you hear noise, obviously the kids are in, and also there are children playing outside, so it might be a little bit noisy. And I did hear, I'd listened to the video part of it to just see where I was up to, and I realised that the bag makes a lot of noise when I'm moving it, so I apologise for that if you're listening with headphones on. It is very crinkly, so I'm really sorry about that. What I have got is this framers tape, and I'm going to use that instead of fabric. I was going to use fabric tape to reinforce the folds, but I've decided not to do that because I don't want to add too much bulk for when I'm sticking down the paper, if I can even remember which order I was going to put the paper in. But what I'm going to do is use this paper tape. It's really, really strong, and it's sticky as well, and I don't think I'm going to need any extra glue with it. So I might put a little bit of extra glue on, but I think it is fairly sticky, so it should be okay. But I'm going to use this because this will reinforce it quite nicely, and I'll still be able to stick the paper on top of it. So I'm going to do that now, but I will again just fast forward through that bit so you don't have to watch it in real time. Okay, so I've had to refer to the original part of my video so that I knew what I'd picked out for the inside of the journal, and I've set that out, so that's how I'm going to have it. And I thought I'd just quickly ink up. Obviously I've added the paper tape, the framers tape. I did a double layer on the inside because I really didn't want any of this red from the bag showing through, but I don't mind a small amount of the text showing through. I just didn't want the red, so I'm just going to quickly ink up around the edges. I want it to go nicely with the brown paper bag. Probably would be easier if I actually had one of the inking tools, but I haven't got one here, so I'm just using a little felt pad instead. Too bad. I'll do it that way. I can't remember now. Oh my goodness, it's been an absolutely, wow, blink and you miss it, a couple of weeks, and I've just not had chance to get on and do any filming. I've not even had much chance to watch many YouTube videos. I have had a couple on in the background while I've been working, but I've signed myself out of my normal account, so I can't comment because I'm watching it on a different account. It would be, well, I can't comment anyway on it. So while I'm working, and yeah, I can't really concentrate very much when I'm working anyway on what people are saying, but it is nice to sort of watch videos and just listen and maybe pick up a few tips. I love that flower, that's so sweet, isn't it? So yeah, it's just been a bit crazy. I'm trying to get myself organised, ready for the Christmas rush. So I'm doing a lot of ordering, getting things prepared, ready for certainly Black Friday sales, because they are always a bit manic. For about a week I'm absolutely exhausted. So I thought if I can get myself organised now. But people are preparing for Christmas anyway. I do sell a few items related to Christmas, obviously not necessarily in the Gypsy Crafter Journals Etsy shop. It's my other business. People are preparing already for Christmas. So I am selling a few items that take a little while to prepare. They're not particularly big items, but people tend to order quite a few of them, and it takes me a while to get them ready. Right, so that's lovely. While I've got the ink out, I may as well do... Actually, you know what, I'm not, because I want to have them in situ. I can't remember which way round they go. Right. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is stick all of this lot down, and I'm going to use a tacky glue for that, and let's hope it sticks okay on the framers tape. I had a bit of a go and had a play to see whether that would work, because obviously you wouldn't normally have anything stuck on that tape. It's actually got quite what appears to be almost a waxy finish. I don't know what it is, but it's very, very strong. The glue seems fairly strong, but I did decide to add a little bit of tacky glue down anyway, just in case, because I have had framers tape that sort of peeled up again on the back of frames, so I don't know how long it'll last, but we'll see. The fabric tape would have looked nice, but I just didn't want to add too much bulk underneath this paper with it folding in on itself, if that makes sense. I'm struggling to get glue out of that. I could almost do with adding a little bit of water to it, that might help. Okay. Just make sure I miss the fold, because I don't want to add any bulk to the fold itself. That's okay. It might lift a bit. This is a bit trial and error. And obviously it's not meant to be perfect, so it's not the end of the world if it's a bit crinkly. I'm not definitely not a perfectionist when it comes to junk journal stuff. I think that's why I quite like them, because I can be a bit perfectionist in other areas. So it's nice to be able to just throw things together. Well, obviously it does take some thought, but it's just nice to do things that aren't perfect and aren't seen as perfect. Oh, well, that's totally out, isn't it? I didn't cut that one very well. I probably even put it on the wrong way round. I bet that was supposed to be that side. Oh, never mind. Like I say, nothing's perfect in junk journaling. Problem, it's been so many days in between doing any work. I'm having to refer to the original part of the video all the time. And this will seem very disjointed. I'm not sure how much of my rambling I'm going to keep in the video. Just depends how much time I've got to actually edit it. Well, this is painful on the fingers, squeezing this out. I should probably get the bookbinding glue out. Probably be easier, wouldn't it? Just slap it on with a sponge. promised my sister I would do her a garden journal, and I want to get started on that soon, so I really want to get this one out of the way so I can sort her out a garden journal. I've got so many projects that I want to do, want to finish. Oh, this is terrible. It's just the time, isn't it, when you're working? And the days go so quick. I know I'm not moaning, obviously I really enjoy my work. It's a creative job, so I absolutely love it. Just never seems to be enough time to do everything that you want to, but everybody's the same. And the kids are back at school, so you think I'd have more time, but then I'm working really hard, so I'm trying to get all my work done when they're at school, but obviously you're giving lifts and making lunches and things like that. So my days go so quickly. Honestly, sometimes I feel like I only have a couple of hours to actually get anything done during the day. That's nice. So I don't know how you're getting on, whether you're getting any crafting done. I have seen videos, so I know people are doing work, getting some really beautiful projects done. Lots of sale hauls. I've been online and bought a few things. Oh, that needs another poke. I have been using my new pastel pencils and pastels. Now obviously when I bought them, I don't know whether you saw the video, my birthday treats, and I have bought another couple of items since then, but it's quite a new medium for me. I have had pastels in my collection and I've given them away, or I've had bits and, you know, just sort of thrown them in with mixed media stuff effectively, I suppose. And I love using the pan pastels, they're fantastic. I'm sure I'm not using them to their full effect, but having the pastels, actually doing a pastel picture is so very different, the way the medium works. So I'm used to using pencils, coloured pencils, and watercolours to an extent, but the pencils, it's just so different. Although they are obviously pastel pencils, they're so different, and I've realised the trick is layer and layer and more layers and lots of burnishing, or I use my finger to burnish them into the paper quite a lot, and that sort of seems to be quite effective. I did buy a couple of paper stumps and I have used those, but I just find it's easier to use my finger. And the YouTuber that I follow, Jason Morgan, I don't think he particularly recommends the finger, but that seems to be working for me at the moment, although I'm getting absolutely caked in pastels when I use them. It's very, very messy, and also they are very dusty, aren't they, the soft pastels. The pencils aren't too bad, but the pastels themselves, the soft ones, are very, very crumbly and dusty, and I realise I'm sort of creating an awful lot of dust when I'm working with them. Just be a bit higher, which I'm not used to. I tried to work outside the other day to get a bit more ventilation, but it was just a bit too blowy, so that wasn't overly successful. Plus the lighting wasn't very good because I was sat near a tree and it kept making weird shadows, so I didn't really see what I was doing. But having said all that, I have really enjoyed what I've done so far. And despite the fact that when you start off, I suppose it's like with pencils, it's just I'm slightly more confident with pencils. And I know that if I get beyond a certain stage, the end result will look okay. Whereas with pastels, it was a bit scary, to be honest, because I put a lot of colour down, and then you sort of I'd look at it and think, oh my word, it's awful. But the trick is, just like any art, I suppose, you just got to keep going, and then eventually, after several layers, it starts to come together. But it's definitely a different experience. Enjoying it though, learning something new. I realise my cutting is absolutely terrible. None of this is even at all. Okay. So that is terrible because I'm in the crease and that's how I'm going to fold up. So let's do the back and see how it looks when we've got the back layer on as well. I'm going to have to refer to my original video because I can't. Okay, so this is the arrangement that I've decided on. I'm just going to stick these down. I've already inked around the edges a little bit just to make them look a little bit more vintage. This is a vintage cover from a music book, and I really like the colour, the orange. I'm not a major fan of orange normally, but I think, you know, everybody's feeling a bit autumnal at the moment. My husband's favourite colour is actually orange, and funnily enough, my wedding flowers were orange, and he wore an orange tie when we got married. Okay, pop that on there. I hope this sticks okay. So this is going to be very colourful. I'm definitely feeling the whole patchwork vibe still. I still haven't completely finished my daughter's blanket yet. Decided I'm going to add some more to the sides. And I'm going to add a fleece back into it. So the fleece has come and it's beautiful, it's yellow. So it's going to make it very big, but that's great because then it'll last her. Today I actually picked out some more fabrics for it out of my fabric drawer. So I just used a lot of the small offcuts. Well, as I probably can, whereas even I can use them in work, it will be good just to use up a few of the smaller pieces and tidy the drawer up. Okay, then we'll go with these ones. It's gone dark now. You can still hear kids playing outside. I think my husband's taken the dog out. My youngest is downstairs, apparently doing her homework. And my eldest was doing an exam or some homework or other. Wow, this is so hard to get out. So has anybody started doing any Halloween crafts? I bet lots of people have. We don't really do a lot for Halloween. Last year didn't do anything at all. My youngest loves it, and my eldest said she wants to do some dressing up this year as well. I've got to get an outfit sorted for them. Normally I prefer to be in and handing out sweets to trick-or-treaters because we get quite a few visitors. Being on a fairly new estate, a lot of the children call around, trick-or-treat. Like I say, they didn't do anything at all last year though. We didn't get any visitors. Whereas the year before we actually ran out of sweets and my youngest and I went out and bought some more because we didn't want to disappoint people. We got through a lot of sugar that night. I'm thinking it's probably going to be pretty much back to normal for visitors. People coming round trick-or-treating. I suspect a lot of people will come round, so we're going to have to get a few bags of sweets in, I think. Right, I like that. That's good. That would be nice decorated. Right, so we've just got the front and the back to go, so we'll pop the back on. I absolutely adore this flocking, and that's going to be so nice when I pick it up. I'll be able to feel that lovely soft coating. There's plenty of glue in here. I think it's gone thick. It's almost like it's lost moisture. So it's difficult to get out. So I might have to get the cutting machines out to do the decorations for Halloween. It's nice to decorate up the sweet bags, things like that. Oh, we're nearly done. It's like wallpaper, isn't it? It's not wallpaper, it is actually from a scrapbook pad. I do have some lovely wallpaper samples, so I might have to pull those out and have a go at doing something with them. That's good. Right then, last bit, we're on the home straight. Oh, let's see if we can get this glue out. Got bits of wire with glue stuck to it all over the place. Hear kids chanting in the background. They're playing outside. So when this is done, what I'm going to do is take it down to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew around all of the sheets that I've applied onto it, just to sort of define the folds a bit more. So I'm not actually going to sew in the fold themselves, I don't think. I think I'm going to sew sort of either side and see what that looks like. Although I've got my free motion foot on, my darning foot at the moment, so I think I might have to remove that. It is quite thick, so I don't know how that's going to work. Oh, have to see, and then I'll show you in the next video. So we'll get this stuck down, and then that'll be it. This video, which is very disjointed and probably very confusing. Oh, but at least I've got that done. So apologies for the rather disjointed video, and hopefully you weren't too confused or bored. I've sped through some of the bits, but you get the idea. All I've done basically is just cut an old bag up and added some bits of paper to it. And what I'm going to do, I found a lovely blue button. I think I'm going to sew onto there to hold this closed, if that works. So then I'm going to go and take it to the sewing machine and sew around, just to define the pockets and the folds. So we'll see how that goes. So thanks very much for joining me. Thanks for bearing with me, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.